You won't do shit, Blondie! Ugh!
It's showtime!
Square, you sly motherfuckers! That's right, boys. Square Enix has provided your boy with a free copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I'm here to give you guys coverage of the game, and let me tell you right now, I couldn't be any happier. I actually still have my deluxe edition pre-ordered, but Amazon delayed it for obvious reasons going on in the world right now, which is unfortunate.
Because of all that, I'm extremely grateful to both Square Enix as well as Nelstar 15 for giving me this opportunity. There are no words that could possibly explain what this means to me. Truly, it's an honor.
Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite games of all time, and I'm obviously not alone in this. So when Square revealed that a remake was coming at E3 2015, the entire world was losing their minds. So much excitement, hype, and tears were shed. In fact, to this day, I regret not recording my reaction to that E3. It's what sparked me to start filming my reactions because, other than Joker coming to Smash, I've never lost so hard over anything in my life. The game's world, characters, music, story, I could go on and on.
Everything was just perfect.
And to finally see it get the remake it deserved after all these years of teases and tech demos, it was for me personally the biggest event to ever happen in video games. Before I continue, I wanted to let you guys know I haven't completed the game yet, hence why this is just a first impressions video instead of a full-on review. As of this recording, I'm currently on Chapter 10 with about 20 hours of game time. I will not be spoiling anything. However, if you want to go into the game completely blind without seeing any gameplay or cutscenes whatsoever, I advise you to click off this video now. Also, if you wanted to see my blind reaction to the first 10 chapters, my playthrough will be available on my second channel. I'll be streaming the rest of the game on Twitch, but I'm going to restart the game in its entirety so we can experience the whole thing together. From head to toe, Final Fantasy VII Remake is filled with love and care from everyone who worked on it. Despite Square having a rough time with recent entries in the Final Fantasy franchise, I can safely say that 7 Remake has captured the feeling of what a Final Fantasy game is once again.
Whoa! Whoa! Oh my god!
To paraphrase something I heard from Maximilian, dude, Final Fantasy VII Remake's environments and world feels like how we were imagining it to be when we were all kids, except now, it's real. Just walking around, you can see the size and scope of everything. Every area I've been through has blown me away. It's honestly remarkable, and as ridiculous as it sounds, making all those years of waiting so worth it.
This pump's sole purpose is to drain the planet dry. While you sleep, while you eat, while you shit, it's here sucking up Mako. It doesn't rest, and it doesn't care. You do realize what Mako is, don't you? Mako is the lifeblood of our world. The planet bleeds green like you and me bleed red. The hell you think's gonna happen when it's all gone, huh? Answer me! You gonna stand there and pretend you can't hear the planet crying out in pain? I know you can!
You really hear that?
Damn straight I do!
My man.
Get help.
Say that again!
Bro.
I'd worry less about the planet and more about the next 5 seconds. Save the screaming for later.
If you played the demo, then you probably already caught on to this, but the characters feel exactly like how I remembered them. Over the years, the cast has been portrayed slightly differently, and I've seen people misunderstand some characters like Aerith and Tifa, for example. It was refreshing to see their personalities shine with writing that is so on point. Even during battle, you'll get some amazing banter between the party members, as well as small changes in how they see each other.
If we don't change it up soon, this thing's gonna kill us both!
Less talking, more shooting.
How about less this from you? Need my help, do you? Want some more? Let me show you how it's done.
Yeah, light 'em up.
Oh my god, Cloud gets like progressively nicer. That's so cool.
Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge also feel like major players this time around. I don't want to spoil anything obviously, but they dedicate a lot of time to really flesh these guys out and make them feel like a part of the team. As far as the voice acting, while I love and respect the original cast, the new voice actors really knocked it out the fucking park. It was like falling in love with everyone all over again.
This is Tifa's theme. Oh my god.
These assholes need to shut the hell up.
Damn, I need a drink.
Once again, police advise that
Arlene.
Oh my god, the music kicks in right when you see her.
Daddy, you're home.
That's right, Angel, I
Welcome
am.
back.
Have you been a good girl?
Yeah, I've been helping Tifa.
Oh, you did you? Well, well.
You made it. Where'd you get that? I can't remember the last time I saw a real one.
I can't believe this.
There are few games that use music in a way to evoke emotion perfectly from the player. And just like the original, Remake does it on a whole nother level with the orchestrated soundtrack. Every song has been orchestrated beautifully, from the character themes to the battle tracks, evoking the exact feeling I'm looking for at every moment. Now, of course, this game only covers the Midgar portion, so I can't even imagine what it'll feel like to enter the vast world of Gaia for the first time in HD. I did want to mention one more thing that you might have noticed in the clip with my reaction to seeing Tifa for the first time, and that's dynamic music. I wish I could meet the person who decided to do this with the remake, because it is the most ingenious thing you could have done to step this game up to another level.
Here.
I'm
this
getting
is for
so
you.
emotional, dude. Fuck.
Huh? A flower?
That's right. It's a gift. You know, for scaring those things away.
What things?
Never mind. Think of it as a memento.
Just my luck.
I heard that, you know.
I told myself I'm not gonna fucking cry playing this game.
Sword on the ground! Right now!
All right, boys. Oh my god, fucking music, dude. Oh my god, it finally kicks in, dude. This is so good. This is so good. Like, fuck, this is so good. I can't even like think because this is so good. Like, fuck.
That's that.
Throughout the entirety of what I've played, the music seamlessly transitions based on what you're doing or where you're at to make moments both in battle and in dialogue more powerful, and they completely nailed it. Now, this is a video game after all. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're definitely going to be eating popcorn for a bit here and there, but please believe me when I say this.
People looking real good right now.
The combat is one of the best I've ever seen, and a direction I hope they stay in for not just FF7, but the entire series going forward. I've stated in the past how, while I enjoy Final Fantasy 15, I really didn't like the combat all that much. None of your attacks felt like they had any impact, and there just wasn't much going on to keep me engaged throughout a whole fight. That isn't the case with Final Fantasy 7. You can feel every swing of your sword, every punch, kick, hell, even Barrett's arm feels good to shoot. Combos feel satisfying, and character swapping mid-battle feels so good. It was the perfect way to make every party member feel like they're contributing, while also giving the player a unique moveset to mess with. Cloud, Tifa, Barrett, and Aerith all feel very different to play, and that's a great thing. Just like in the original, you have an ATB and limit bar. Limit functions essentially the same, but ATB is super interesting. Whenever a bar is filled, you can spend it to use a spell, ability, summon, or consume an item. The decision to tie item use to ATB makes sense thematically, but also makes boss fights and some mobs a lot more challenging when you have to decide things like, should I heal, or try to get that last bit of pressure to put them into stagger. Speaking of stagger, Final Fantasy 13, it's good to see you again. As leader of the very small Final Fantasy 13 fan club, I've always felt that it had one of the best battle systems in JRPGs. So seeing even just one of the mechanics like stagger return made me a very happy boy.
Yes, sir!
Essentially, each enemy will have their HP bar and a stagger bar underneath it. As far as recent games go, it's kind of like when you parry enough blows in Sekiro and the opponent just kind of shuts down, allowing you to one-shot them. You don't do that in here though. It's pretty much exactly like in Final Fantasy 13. Keep up attacks and hitting weaknesses to force the enemy into a pressure state. Then wail on them until staggered and start dealing heaps of damage onto them.
Oh, it's so satisfying.
While we're still talking about combat, I also wanted to mention a couple things that blew my mind. Every weapon has its own special ability. Pretty standard, right? Well, there's a mechanic similar to Final Fantasy IX, where if you master the weapon by raising its proficiency to 100%, then the ability becomes your own, instead of being tied to a weapon. Again, absolutely fucking genius decision by the combat team. This encourages the player to experiment with different weapons and get as many skills as possible to use with your favorite weapon. Oh, and the Buster Sword is viable throughout the whole game in case you were wondering. This is because every weapon now has its own sub-core that you can upgrade using abilities. All the weapons have their own skill points that aren't shared, so don't worry about dumping it all into one weapon and not being able to try something else later. Materia is just as cool as back then, with all the different combinations and functions pretty much the same as in the original. 2, 1, go. Triangle, circle, X, squared.
Your form's looking good.
Oh, I'm nuts!
Not bad at all. You've got this. Come on. I knew you could do it. That's how it's done. Your form's looking good. Not bad at all.
Bro, I'm going in! Final Fantasy VII wouldn't be complete without its fair share of minigames and side activities to do, and Remake is chock full of them. To reiterate, I'm only at the beginning of Chapter 10, so I haven't seen all of them, but the majority of what I've played was fantastic. Beating Wedge's score in darts at 7th Heaven or hitting the squad off at the Wall Market Gym, they provide a fun little thing to do that just make the world feel alive. More on that later. The side quests are mostly fine with nothing super amazing from what I've played so far, well, except for one of them.
Let me see if I've got this straight. You ditched your lady friend and fellow champion to have a boys' night out in Wall Market?
See, I made this bet with the materia merchant. A sure thing, but then I lost. And so I had no choice but to steal my heart and surrender my precious inspiration.
Got it. I mean, I don't got it, but I just need to get your inspiration.
What are you doing,
back,
Johnny?
Right? Whatever the hell that is. I'm here for the precious inspiration you took from the old dude.
Inspiration? Oh, that thing. I'll consider giving it back in exchange for a favor.
What you need?
Something only real men can deliver.
Oh, here we go.
No, I don't think I...
Wait, the sauce.
The sauce?
Stop saying the sauce.
You just need to tap into your knowledge and expertise. Like, grab it and whip it out.
I don't need to whip it out. I've done this before. Watch this.
Oh, what was that? A cry of pleasure? Is this how you like it? How about this? Or maybe this?
100 out of 10!
Typically, most side quests really play up the Merc thing for Cloud, which was a nice touch lore-wise. Every time you complete a quest in a town, citizens become more fond of you and stores might even offer discounts. It ended up being pretty cool when you head to a new town and the villagers say things like, "Oh, are you the Merc who helped out Sector 5? Your name's Cloud, is it? Oh, you're really nice." Also, the people involved with the side quests are usually pretty fascinating characters, making it super funny when Cloud will take a job like clearing this old man's gravesite of monsters so he can offer prayer to his wife again, only to come back and go,
Okay, it'll cost you 5,000 gil though.
5,000?
It's always money with you people.
I mentioned earlier that the minigames made the world feel alive. I haven't played a game in a while where every town felt so, well, alive. There are tons of NPCs just minding their own business, talking about their lives to each other, maybe speaking on current events.
Whoa, that is one hot chick.
Whoa, that is one hot chick.
It's so fascinating and amusing to sit back and soak everything in and really get a feel for the kind of world you're in. From the Sector 7 slums all the way to Wall Market, there were tons of interesting or downright humorous lines these NPCs would say. Now, I know I've been talking about this game like it's God itself, but it certainly comes with a few issues. One of the main things that bothered me during my playthrough was how, in some areas, if you were doing a major story mission, you couldn't go in the opposite direction. Otherwise, one of your party members would tell you to turn back and go the right way. That's fine and all, but sometimes I just want to be dumb and run my ass into some random corridor to get lost, you feel me? There's also one section with a crane arm where you need to carry Aerith across this pit in order for her to kick down the ladder for you to climb on. This wouldn't have bothered me too much if I didn't have to do it 3 times. It just felt like it took too long and wasn't particularly fun. I mean, you're literally just moving a crane for 15 minutes. Although, this was pretty funny.
Yo, my bad.
The other thing I noticed, and I want to preface this by saying this could be fixed on a day 1 patch, was a lot of the textures take a while to load in. This might be because of the PS4 hardware just not being powerful enough, although keep in mind, I'm playing on a PS4 Pro, but I play on the Switch a shit ton, and it's my favorite console, so this didn't really bother me at all, but I can see this being a problem for some people who care about that kind of stuff.
Overall, Final Fantasy VII Remake is everything I've ever wanted.
Square Enix, Tetsuya Nomura, Yoshinori Kitase, Nobuo Uematsu, Teruki Endo, and everyone else involved with the game. Yes, even the team dedicated to the fucking lighting.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to cover your game.
And in case you guys can't already tell, please, go get yourself a copy of this game and experience the magical masterpiece known as Final Fantasy VII.